Hi, Greg Wallace here tonight with you folks, and I'm here with Chris Crone, and we're here to talk about Strongbrook Direct, and kind of that company that's come out. It's hitting the nation with surprise, and we're having great results with it. And so I've got the president here of the company, and I've got some questions for him. But one of the biggest things I see in the real estate market is people struggle a lot, and your story is amazing, Chris, and what you did and what you accomplished. And I think that what the viewers would like to see or hear a little bit from you is how did you get started, and a little bit about maybe your educational process, what went on with you.
I appreciate that, Greg, and I appreciate having this time to chat with you about this. I got to tell you, it's probably close to about a decade ago that when I actually wanted to get into real estate, I actually didn't want real estate at all. What I was looking for was freedom. Because when I was going to college, I was doing that full time. I was newly married, so I was also going to school full time. And this job had me doing telemarketing, not one of the most exciting jobs, but I learned a lot from it. And I was listening to people that all kind of fall within a similar demographic. These people had college degrees. They had been working 30 years at a career. They did what society said, which was put money into 401ks and IRAs. They were working on paying off their homes. And despite their best efforts, come retirement or near retirement, there was a lot of panic. And so I felt a tremendous amount of panic. And so I was looking for freedom. I was looking for something that would free me from a system that said, hey, the only way to get anywhere in life is you have to have a degree, and then you just plug into a career for 30 years, and then you're going to make it. Because my experience said people weren't making it. And I never did any kind of real estate program. I met two individuals that had made a tremendous amount of money in real estate, and I was inspired. In fact, it wasn't just that they had made money or had the big houses and world travel and had exceptional opportunities for them and their families. It was something sang about that to me. And real estate, I could tell, was this latent, this passion that hadn't yet emerged. And one thing led to another. I got my first house, my second year in college. Fortunately, my wife supported me, and something just felt very right about it. I bought that house. I lived in it for a short while. We rented out the basement, lived for free. But when I sold it, I made $50,000.
Now, that $50,000, that's a lot of money. How old were you?
23.
23. Most kids 23 are struggling to even make $10,000, $15,000.
That was more than twice what I made at my job full time. Well, I got to tell you, Greg, the thing that hurt the most was thinking, I'm working every day, all these hours, at something I don't like to do, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I do that every week of my life for 2 years, and I make more money in one transaction.
And how long do you think that transaction took you if you look at the time frame, the period? 4 months, 2 months?
No, I actually had that house for about 2 years. I had bought several other houses even since then. So when I bought my first house, my game plan, and we talk a lot about helping people get game plans, because you can't really go anywhere in life unless you know where you're going and how you want to get there.
Totally agree with you.
So I bought my first house. We rented out the basement. We were living for free. And then we used the equity in that home to buy a second home that was paying us over $500 a month. So living for free and getting paid $500 tasted so good that Clint said, you know what, Chris, let's move again, tiny down payment, get a third house, rent out the first one, turn that into a positive $500 cash flow. By our third house, we were living for free, had over $1,000 a month coming in. And it didn't take very long to actually replace my income. In fact, after we bought our first house, my wife turned to me and she said, you know, Chris, you love this real estate so much. How much real estate do you think we'd need to quit corporate America? And we did the math. I needed 25 homes to have a 6-figure residual income. And 1 year out of college, we bought our 25th home. And the day I signed on it, I walked into my boss's office and I asked for something really kind of weird. I asked for a $70,000 raise.
What did he say? I can imagine what he said.
No, he laughed.
I bet he did.
And
I'm laughing.
And at this company, when you're done. You just walk out. So I packed up all my stuff, and it was literally, I had not, other than the day I got married, I cannot recall a time in my life up to that point where I had ever felt so much joy, because it was such a beautiful feeling to know that I had freed myself through these efforts and labors from ever needing to work in a corporate setting again.
Now, how old were you? I mean, we're talking about 23, your first house. So how old are you? About 25,
Well, I bought my
26?
first one when I was 23, 25.
Okay.
I think I was 26 years old. It was 4.5 years from
26.
the time I bought my first home. So it took not quite 5 years to do that.
And most people can hardly even afford one house or figure out how to make one house work, and you did it with 25.
Yeah.
So you did a game plan with your wife before, so you started this game plan mindset back when you first started.
Yeah, in the very beginning, it was like, man, everything for me is numbers, right?
Absolutely.
Life comes down to people and numbers. So, I started looking at every decision as a number. When I bought a house, what are the numbers? When we say what is freedom, for me, freedom is when someone gets to a point in their finances when their residual income pays all their whatevers and they can do what they want with their life. So every time I buy a house that has a $200 cash flow, that's a measure of freedom. I just need to buy enough freedom before I've unmortgaged my life, and I own my choices again for that permission to live my life and do what I want to do with my life.
Well, it's funny. We talk about people getting freedom, and we talk about the statistics in America, which are really sad right now with retirement.
Especially in this economy right now.
In this economy, right now, what's an average retired person receive, you think?
Oh, I think I read somewhere that the average retiree has maybe 40 or 50,000 in a 401k.
Maybe.
Most do not have any kind of pension. They're relying on Social Security. Most people probably, I guess, have to scale back their standard of living by 70, 80%. And it's sad to see people that spend the rest of their 20, 30 years of retirement in poverty or trying to, compete at Walmart to be a greeter,
You're trying to compete at Walmart. The sad part of it is that is the reality of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I believe they've hoodwinked us. I don't believe they're teaching us the right principles.
Oh, we're not taught about money.
No, we're not talking about money. And so what I love about what you're doing is you're creating a platform of success for the average person to participate into, and you're taking them through the educational process and giving them the tools to be successful, and you're taking your experience, their a little bit of their money, their credit, and you're teaching them a system whereby they also can have what you had, maybe not as fast, maybe not as good, but you're going to give them that mindset and get people to have something that's really powerful for them in their retirement.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's interesting is that very few people can do this by themselves, let alone teach it at a large-scale level. We talk about that, and we talk about the vision. What is the vision for this company? I mean, your vision is great and what you've accomplished. What's the vision for this company? And I've heard it, and people need to hear this. It's wonderful. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I think I wasn't very different than a lot of people. The original impetus for creating wealth and this original freedom, it wasn't to start a movement. It wasn't to bless any other lives other than me and my family. I was being taught, take care of your own, be a good provider. So I had done that. And it was about 6 months after I quit my job. I was spending so much time at home, and my wife and I were traveling. We were actually on a tiny little island out off of Jamaica called Kokomo. They sing about it in the songs.
I like that song.
Yeah, and we were walking on the beach, and Clen, she turned to me and she said, "Chris, it's been nice having you home so much." I think she said it a little bit joking because I had been home a lot. But what she wanted to know is, so what do you think you're going to do with your life? And I thought,
you mean like you need to get out of the house, honey?
Well, but it actually was perfect for me because I started thinking, you're right. Not working isn't fun, and being full-time at home all the time, like something did definitely feel like it was missing. And I did some soul searching, and at that time, something that actually helped me figure out what my vision for my life and now what we've created here with Strongbrook is all the people that started knocking on my door saying, teach me, help me, can you show me what you've done? And I was very opposed to that because I saw that most people, if they didn't have the natural passion for real estate, that without a support system or a support team, just a little knowledge, real estate for the average person too difficult. So,
absolutely.
So we set out and forged a path and did something new and created a vision. When I say we, I mean me, and I started surrounding myself with just some of the most amazing people. We put a company together, and the purpose was to help others that wanted to make the money in real estate without having to do the work. And what we did is we took a stand for entrepreneurship, because 99% of this country's GDP is based on the backbone of entrepreneurs.
Small business, you're absolutely right.
And small business used to run this country, but more and more, we got 93% of Americans, and they're locked in a job, and MSNBC says 87% of them are unhappy or don't like their job. I mean, people are miserable. And on top of it, we got this economy. And so I don't see anyone out there freedom fighting for the entrepreneurs. Think about that. There's no place for the entrepreneur. Where do they go to college and get a degree? Not in business or getting an MBA, but how do you start a business and run a business successfully as an entrepreneur? That's not out there. So we said, you know what? Real estate is like a business in the box, and we've proven it. What if we could help people by getting them involved, and we would do all the heavy lifting? We'd let them be the CEO and make the choices, and they could
Yep.
experience the freedom and the fruits of successful entrepreneurship. So, today we're helping as many people as we can that have a desire to run successful businesses based on principles that work, especially in the now economy, and we're helping them win. And I believe that's how we're going to rebuild America. It happens one person at a time. It happens a family at a time. A number of families can rebuild a community. And if we rebuild enough communities, Greg, then we're going to rebuild this once great nation and restore back that American dream that I fear has been lost because we don't have enough successful entrepreneurs.
I totally agree with you, folks. And most people don't realize the American dream is going away. And if you look at real estate and the options right now, because there's still going to be people going to need to rent, they're going to be in those areas that are weak right now, and the areas that are struggling. But I look at, more importantly, people need to understand what a home-based business does, and this is, you have a mentorship program here, you have a coaching program here. In fact, I'm going to call you a financial coach that teaches people about a concept that people have talked about. They all want to buy the American dream, they want to buy their house. But they really don't understand. And you kind of work outside the box, but within the box also. And you got all these professionals around you. That the vision you came to was interesting to me, and is that we talk about this, that you kept track of these records with a gentleman in your group. What's his name again?
Ruben.
Ruben. Yeah. Ruben's the numbers guy, and I always like numbers. Guy. So it's not magic, it's math.